Emanu-El prayer book. Yedid nefesh avarach Rahman mishol chadecha eretz zonecha
Please rise. It's customary every day during the month of Elul for us to kol lishmoa, the lishmoa kol shofar, to listen to the call of the shofar. The mitzvah is not the blowing of the shofar, it's hearing the shofar and being woken up And if you don't know, Rosh Hashanah is in a scant 48 hours, and we have 2 more days of blowing the shofar. The last time will be on Sunday, and then we open up the gates and welcome the new year in.
Tekiah.
Please be seated. Welcome to the last Shabbat of 5785, and it has been quite a year of intense highs and maybe more lows. Some gains, it feels like a lot of brokenness and loss, but still being here together to welcome in Shabbat every single week, no matter where your heart is, whole or broken. We encourage you to come and to be here with us in our beautiful sanctuary. And it's my honor now to welcome Ellie and David Friedman, who are going to light the Shabbat candles on page 10. And I will just embarrass David for a moment and say that the reason that we have our whole new extraordinary building is because he was the one who said, I think you have a seismic issue, rabbis. And what started as a seismic issue became one of the most beautiful endeavors in the history of our congregation. So thank you so much, David, and thank you for being with us, Ellie. Just leave this.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Turn to page 20 for Shalom Aleichem, welcoming the angels that welcome us to Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malachei Amenachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh,
page 22 with Lecha Dodi, which invites us to really contemplate the importance of taking these 25 hours just ourselves, to reflect, to contemplate, to let go of the things in the outside world that make it so difficult for us to just be human beings.
Shabbat Nekabela Itoreri Kiva Orech Kuni Ori Ori Shirta Kam b'simcha u'tzola toch emunei am sigula boi chala Shabbat Nekabela Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat
We remain standing after that beautiful Lecha Dodi, and we turn to page 26 for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Adonai המבורך לעולם
Holy is twilight, the realm of in-between. And so our sages taught, pray in the moments when light and darkness touch. We are all twilight people beyond categories and labels. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, widen our vision. Let it illumine our way to the God who transcends all boundaries and definitions. Blessed are you, Adonai of all, who brings on the twilight.
מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב הרבים. On the next page, לאהבת עולם אהבתי על כן משכתי חסד and everlasting love I have loved you for this I have drawn you with my love. The mountains may crumble and the hills may fade away, but my love for you will not end. The mountains may crumble and the hills may fade away, but my love for you will not end. Mountains may crumble and the hills may fade away, but my love for you will not end. לאהבת עולם אהבתי על כן משכתי חסד and everlasting love I have loved you. I have loved you, for this I have drawn you, for this I have drawn you with my love, with my love. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated and join us in the Ve'ahavta on page 35.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
As Rabbi Min said, we are in the month of Elul, a month of listening to the shofar every day, a month of beginning that process of returning to ourselves. And part of that process involves beginning, and we talked about this for any of you who were at the pipe organ meditation before services, beginning that difficult process of self-reconciliation. And in modern times, when we do that, often we look to our liturgy, but we also look to our modern day poets. And I always at this time come to Leonard Cohen, our Judaism's rogue poet, who was really a liturgist, right? Because when we were talking about the liturgy, we're talking about the prayers. And Leonard Cohen, who spent his childhood going to Shabbat very often, listening to the prayers, drew inspiration from them and really wrote his own prayers. So in that spirit, as we move slowly into our rubric where we think about healing, we also think during the time of Elul of forgiveness.
Like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir, I have tried in my way to be free. Like a worm on a hook, like a knife from some old-fashioned book, I've saved all my ribbons for thee. Oh, if I have been unkind, I hope that you can just let it go by. And if I have been untrue, I hope you know it was never to you. More like a baby born, like a beast with his horn. I have torn everyone who has reached out for me. But I swear by this song and by all that I have done wrong, I will make it all up to thee. I saw a beggar leaning on his wooden crutch. He said to me, "You must not ask for so much." like a bird on a wire, like a drunk in a midnight choir. I've tried in my way to be free.
Thank you, Cantor. Truly, the two of us love Leonard Cohen all the time, but especially during Elul. So it's a true gift to hear his words, his poetry, his liturgy, just woven into the ancient words of our own liturgy. It is our time now to say the Mishaberach, which is found on page 77. This is the time when we think about those who are in need of healing. And we think of Rifuat HaNefesh and Rifuat HaGuf, and Rifuat HaSechel. If you have someone in your mind who is ailing either in body or mind or spirit, to take them into your heart. And it doesn't have to be a physical illness, as we know, because so many people are brokenhearted and need some healing tonight.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We take into our hearts Chaya Bluma, Sam Nassiter, Robert Osheroff, Lori Jarecki, Rachel Bat Avraham, Miriam Bat Eliezer Miriam, Joseph Gerlach, Bob Tandler, Yehoshua Ben Naomi David, Adam Goodkind, Jeffrey Brown, Yaakov Ben Yaffa, Marilyn Merker, Mary Herzog, Mort Revo, Jewel Klein, Bob Clear, Noel Lieberman, Naftali Leandres, and if anyone else here has the name of someone that needs a Mishaberach, please feel free to say that person's name out loud.
The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We continue on page 42, and I find the Hashkivenu to be a very helpful prayer, a prayer that asks for a Sukkot Shlemecha, a shelter of peace over every single human being in the world. And as darkness descends and we look out, we see our stained glass windows dimming a little bit. We think about what it is that keeps us up at night. And this prayer, with all of its shh and sounds, really beckons us into a place of deep rest.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, ve'alidei
voices. Amen. 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 Amen.
We continue now for our own reflection and prayer on page 48 with the tefillah. So please rise and join us.
Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Ve'inatecha, Ufi Yagid Ve'inatecha, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Ve'inatecha, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, Ufi Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim וקודני הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please take some time for your own silent reflection and feel free to be seated when you are complete.
by fire, who by water, who in the sunshine, who in the nighttime, who by high ordeal, who by common trial, who in your merry, merry month of May, who by very slow decay, and who shall I say is calling? And who in her lonely sleigh, who by barbiturate, who in these realms of love, who by something blunt, who by avalanche, who by powder, who for his greed, for his hunger, and who shall I say is calling? And who by brave ascent, who by accident, who in solitude, who in this mirror, who by his lady's command, who by his own hand, who in mortal chains, who in power, and who shall I say is calling?
Thank you, Cantor. I want to dedicate this drasha tonight, this teaching, this Torah, to my dear friend Jessica Parrish Galloway, who we lost this week, and who was a deep and powerful inspiration to my spirit, to my soul, to my learning, and who we will be saying Kaddish for as a community tonight. I have to say I was feeling very right and righteous to hear the words, the powerful words of Leonard Cohen and Who by Fire, which comes out of his soul of having prayed the Unatana Tokef every year of his life. When I think about Leonard Cohen at this time of year, I always go back and I listen to his interview, which actually is a video from 1966 when he was being interviewed by the CBC. Just in 1966, as he was trying to make the transition from poet to songwriter. And the interviewer asked him if he had ever considered changing his name, and he answered he had considered changing his name to September. And she said, "Leonard September?" And he said, "No, September Cohen." And she said, "But Cohen is such a standard name." And he said, "So is September." And she said, "Not for a first name." And when she looked at him quizzically, he said, "New things are always beginning in September, so we wanted to change his name and get a tattoo to remind himself of new beginnings." And there's actually a live concert bootleg that exists where at the end of the performance of Famous Blue Raincoat, he signs off as September Cohen instead of Leonard Cohen. So this is not apocryphal, this is true. He was kind of speaking in code to the Jewish world during that interview. He was saying, "I'm Jewish, and in the Jewish timeline, September is the beginning of the creation of the world. It's the head of the new year, the time for Shana or Shinui, for us to change. September is, for us, always a time of new beginnings and a time of endings, too. September, because of that, is sometimes a hard month for so many people. And this year, already, 5785, we have gone through so much loss, so much pain and anguish. Sing Amisha Berach each week for our own democracy, not knowing what we could possibly do. And the Jewish year then asks us very deeply and personally, how do we approach ourselves, one another, our families, these losses, these gains? How do we make sense of the world as it moves forward? How do we have some agency to help shape it and change it, to create new beginnings, to not fall backwards? How do we live with a little bit of hope each day and not just despair? I think a lot about what we're going to read this Tuesday morning, the Akedat Yitzhak, the story of the binding of Isaac, the almost sacrifice of Isaac. And I think, what were the rabbis actually thinking when they thought several thousand years ago about the one reading that more Jews would hear than any other? What's the one observance during the year that more Jews actually observe than any other observance in the year? What do you think? You all know it. Is matzah involved? Passover, right? Passover. But Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, more Jews come to synagogue than any other. And so the rabbis thought that they would have the story of the binding of Isaac, the almost sacrifice of Abraham's son Isaac, as this story, which really mirrors so many of the original stories. The very first stories in Genesis are not of brotherly love, but of fratricide. Cain kills Abel. And jealousy and hatred, Ishmael and Isaac, and of Jacob and Esau and the 12 tribes of Israel, Jacob's sons, who we know didn't get along very well. I think if I was 2,000 years old, and I went back and I sat with the rabbis, I would say, maybe Akedat Yitzhak, the story that perpetuates the feeling of enmity, of not being forgiving, the feeling between a father and son of hatred or of jealousy, the feeling of brothers who couldn't get along, I would say to them, I've read it so many years, I'd like to change it for Rosh Hashanah. And I would change it to the portion from Vayishlach. And Vayishlach is the story I feel that if we read it every year on Rosh Hashanah, there would be a sense not just of having faith in God, but having faith in ourselves and having a sense of redemption in terms of humanity. This was the story in Vayishlach of Yaakov, or Jacob, who returns to Canaan after his time away, and he, of course, had stolen his birthright and his blessing from his brother Esau. So there had been a rupture in their relationship. He was kind of the obnoxious brother, I have to say. Esau and Jacob were twins, and Esau tried to come out as the first brother, and Jacob actually was pulled out of the womb holding onto his brother's heel, which has never been recorded again. But he was given the name Jacob, or Yaakov, which comes from the word ekev, which means heel. So Jacob steals the birthright and the blessing from his brother, and his mother says, go to my brother and be safe, because your brother wants to kill you for doing this. And it's many, many years later in Vayishlach, when Jacob and Esau have gone their separate ways, they are now the proud patriarchs of their own tribes. And Jacob has his 4 wives, he has his 12 tribes, and his 13th tribe, his daughter Dinah. And Esau comes with his tribe. And Jacob looks and realizes that they are going to meet in the middle of the wilderness. And he is very, very scared, because he thinks after all these years, his brother still wants to kill him. So he sends his entire family ahead. He goes and he crosses the river. He spends all night wrestling with an angel. You know that story? This is the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. And his name is changed in the wrestling from Jacob to Yisrael. And when he comes to the other side of the Jabbok River and he meets up with his brother, he literally bows down to him in the sand 7 times. He bows and bows and bows until he comes up to Esau. And Esau looks down at his brother. He does not take out a knife. He does not hurt him. He actually picks him up from his knees, kisses him, and hugs him, and they both cry. That's the story that I wish that we would read on Rosh Hashanah, but I'm not that powerful of a rabbi. We've got a few thousand years of history saying you're going to read the Akedah again this year about the almost sacrifice of Isaac by his father Abraham. But I still think it's important as we look at the generations to really think about how important it is to pay attention to other stories, because the other stories are so formative and so important when we think about what's happening in Israel. We think about Arabs, and we think about Israelis. We think about Jews and Muslims, and we think about all of the religions today that have some belief in humanity and faith and who pray for peace. I like to think about those stories, especially on Rosh Hashanah, when we think about possibilities and of building something new and creating a new year for ourselves. I also want to say that I wouldn't change the Nitzavim portion, which is actually the portion this week. Nitzavim is the portion that we read on Yom Kippur, because it says that there is something that is ultimately so powerful about being human that is not so far away that it's on the other side of the sea. It's not so far away that it's in heaven that we can't reach it, but it's right in our own hearts. And there is a piece of Talmud that says that this power, this human power, was actually created before the creation of the world, and it's called tshuva, the power of returning to ourselves and the power of forgiveness. So I want to give you 48 hours now to think about a few people in your life who you need to ask forgiveness from, or who you would like to be in a tshuva place with them, where you are asking for some repair in your relationship. Sometimes it's from this past year, or it could be from your childhood, or it could be from several years ago that you haven't had the courage, the ometz lev of your heart, to move forward and to be forgiving or to have those conversations. So this superpower is not just for Jews. The power of being forgiving and of forgiveness, it's a human power. And it's a power that, especially between Rosh Hashanah, we're asked to employ. So I'm giving you a 48-hour ramp up so that you're not surprised on Rosh Hashanah when we talk about opening the gates to tshuva, opening the gates to return and replenishing our souls and repairing our relationships. You have a little bit of a head start to that. And I want to end before the Aleinu by saying that it's important for us to be forgiving before we ask to forgive anybody else, or we're asking to be forgiven by someone else, to forgive ourselves. And I think we're the least gentle on ourselves as human beings. And the midrash that I think about and that I like to teach and read and learn each year at this time is the midrash where it talks about the holy ark, that ark, but the one that Moses carried with the people. And the one that Moses carried with the people actually had 2 sets of tablets in it. The intact tablets that Moses got the second time when he came down from Mount Sinai, and the first set of tablets that was destroyed and broken into shards when Moses came down from Mount Sinai and saw all the Israelites dancing around a golden calf. He was so angry in that moment, holding the 10 Commandments, that he threw them on the ground and he shattered them. And then they went on their way into the wilderness. But what I love about this midrash is it said that somebody came back to that place, one of the Israelites, who saw that there was holiness in the brokenness, and gathered up all of the shards of the first 2 tablets and brought them. And when the second tablets came down that were totally whole and holy and intact, they opened up the ark and they put the other broken, shattered tablets in with the whole ones. And I love that because it reminds us that our hearts can be broken. It reminds us that our souls can feel achy and almost sharp. But it doesn't mean that we're less holy or we're less whole, even though we're all schlepping around some shards of brokenness with us. That if we are forgiving of ourselves first, it's a much more beautiful, forgiving world. Shabbat Shalom. Please rise as the ark is opened. We turn to page 80 for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר ראשית, שלא עשנו גרגי הרצון ולא זמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו Shemo Echad.
Our service now moves to Kaddish Yatom, the moments we say Kaddish when we remember those who have gone before us, who are still our beloveds, still in our heart, even they're not in body in this world. We think about them with a lot of love. It's on page 86, and tonight we recall those who will be laid to rest this week, John Searle and Donnie Milfair, and those who have died in the last 30 days whose shloshim are included: Jane Feinberg, Marion Happy Stone, Richard Arnold Miller, Arthur Bolton, Milo Levy, Michael Spiro, Andre Francesco, Nancy Levy, Tad Taubey, Jessica Parrish Galloway, Yehuda Bloom, and whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of their deaths, fall on this Shabbat: Ruth Asnes, Aram Athanasian, Bradford Goldman Baru, Ahava Bass, Hazel Bellett, Irving Lewis Berg, Michael Chaim Berkovitz, Sol Bernick, Constance Blanc, Benjamin Busina, Dorothy Kaplan, Sarah Chesler, Gertrude Peckhoff-Cohn, Louis Cohn, Trudy Cohn, Daniel Coleman, David Israel Cook, Patricia Dillick, Edmund Theodore Hersepke, Ann Ettlinger, Barbara Felton, Curtis Fields, Alan Leslie Fisher, Eva Fleischer, Joshua Freiberger, Phyllis and Howard Friedman, Charles Gensler, Ian Montgomery Graham, George Gray, Olga Issenberg Gross, Nina Jaffe Gruen, Walter Haas Jr., Pearl Fisher Harlan, Judy Jorgensen, Benjamin Catton, Heidi Lynn Kaufman, Maurice Kleinberg, Igor Kopelenko, Henry Lehrer, Anne Levine, Nathan Levine, Neil Levin, Patricia Levin, George Levine, Shirley Levy, Lydia Lieberman, Cecilia Michael, Robert Mitgang, Ben Ortenberg, Dennis Parton, Joshua Adam Portnoy, Charles H. Powell, Adeline Reich, Miriam Rand, Charles F. Rich, Dorothy Rosen, Sylvia Rothstein, Harry Rubenstein, Harry Rubino, Veronica Sanchez, Dr. P. Lewis Sanders, Ruth G. Schutz, Diane Schatz, Frida Siegel, Arthur Silver, Jack Snyder, Melvin R. Solomon, Irving M. Stahl, Eleanor Koenig Stein, Roger Stone, Milton Sirkin, Angela Tillin Tauchinsky, Rabbi Leo Trepp, Bastia Walter, Robert Wortel, Richard White, Joanne R. Weiner, and Edwin Zalas. And if there's anyone else who is observing a yahrzeit, please, or has lost someone recently, please rise and say that person's name, and we will join our mourners. Ask our mourners to now rise. And all of us who are in support of them as we say these holy words of blessing on page 86. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Belma Divrach Rute v'yamlich Malchute B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael B'gola v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mivorach le'olam al me'al maya Yitparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'elma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen.
Before we sing on page 94, just a few announcements. Monday night is, what's Monday night, Rabbi? Yeah, it's Rosh Hashanah, so I hope you'll come to that. Please join us for all the services. We also have amazing children's services. Tashlich on the beach at 4:30. You don't want to miss that. Bring a picnic, bring cheese. join 600-700 of your fellow Emanu-Elans on the ocean. On September 28th at 9 a.m., superstar Dan Nichols will be performing right here. He is a huge sensation in the Reform movement and with the summer camps, so everyone should bring kids and bring more kids and bring grandparents. Let's fill this place up. It's going to be really exciting. In a few minutes, we'll meet out there for a Kiddush and Motzi. But first, from the bedtime Shema, this Elul, final prayer for all of us, asking the angels, invoking them to surround us. And it goes like this. Everyone try that. One more time. Now it goes a little higher, like this. Try that. One more time. Let's try the English. In the name of God, the God of Israel. On my right is Michael, my left Gabriel. In front of me is Uriel, behind me Raphael, and all around surrounding us in the name of God, the God of Israel. On my right is Michael, on my left is Gabriel. In front of me is Uriel, behind me Raphael, and all around surrounding us, Shekinah. Please join us in the foyer for Kiddush and Motzi. God of Israel. On my right, Michael, my left, Gabriel. In front of me is Uriel, behind me Raphael, and all around surrounding us, Shekinah. The God of Israel. On my right, Michael, my left, Gabriel. In front of me is Uriel, behind me Raphael, and all
Shechinatel.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Come forward so everyone can get in. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu Shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit Ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu levacharta V'yotanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha V'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat L'chaim Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom. Adonai, lai, 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 lai. Which part? Oh, good. This one? Oh, thank you. And it's in this prayer book, which is so exciting. Oh, wow. Yes. Yeah. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. Thank you. Shabbos. Shechinateh.